Greetings and salutations, horror movie fans. My name is Gilbert Yabar, and welcome back to the Attic Review. On today's episode of TAR, I want to talk a little holiday madness. With the Christmas babysitting gig gone completely wrong in the comedy horror, better watch out. Released in 2016, Better Watch Out shows a 17-year-old Ashley's final babysitting job for a pretentious 12-year-old little snot named Luke, who happens to have the hot for his college-bound babysitter. Naughty boy Luke wants to profess his love for Ashley, but strange things begin occurring around the house, and we have ourselves a nice unexpected dark comedy thriller. Before we begin this though, I've got to say this is going to be full of spoilers, so I strongly suggest that you watch this review after you've seen the film for yourself. Okay, we've been warned about the spoilers. Now in Attic Review fashion, I'm going to break the movie down into the 3 acts as I saw them play out. What I liked, disliked, how I felt about the movie overall, so without further ado, let's get into Better Watch Out. This movie is funny from the start, as you can tell from the first 40 seconds. And we meet Ashley, a young lady that should be packing to get out of town, but she takes a last-minute babysitting job for a quirky family that she normally sits for. And now we get to meet 12-year-old Luke, a very spoiled and bizarre boy that is a result of over-coddling from his parents, Crunk and Bonfire Helen. I'm sure they meant well. Luke is chatting it up with his equally bizarre friend Garrett, and they are talking about the authenticity of the paint cans in Home Alone. We'll get to that later. But that small talk is nothing because Luke is getting ready to make his move in a bold plan to try to capture Ashley's heart. And what a plan it is. Psst! And in a side note to talk about in the Act 1 breakdown, there's a fun connection between Ashley and Garrett if you didn't spot it already. The parents leave, and Luke immediately becomes a little shit, starts popping bottles trying to impress Ashley with some liquor and horror movies. But since Ashley's having a little bit of boy trouble, she decides to have a little sip as well, and then Luke is starting to earn his spot on the naughty list by making some unwanted advances. Luke! And I don't know about you, but I want some horror movie tropes. So cue the silhouette standing outside the window. Let's get some quiet on the other end phone calls. The back door to the house mysteriously being left open, and some strange noises that should be investigated. It's just Garrett messing around. For a while though, I thought they were really in trouble. But oh shit, things are still feeling really dangerous around the house as more threats are coming in, and Garrett gets clapped up. And this is such a shitty night for Ashley and Luke, and suddenly they see the intruder that's trying to wish them harm, and wait a minute. A furious Ashley discovers that this is one big ruse from Luke in an attempt to scare her into being his wifey. Rightfully so, Ashley is pissed and is spouting off the laundry list of consequences that Luke is going to face when this whole movie is about to take a dark and violent turn as Luke knocks out Ashley and we end Act 1. Gotta be super frustrating for Ashley. And you know what else is frustrating? When yours truly releases a video and you miss out, so save yourself that frustration and subscribe to the Attic Review. Now let's get into Act 1 likes and dislikes. Act 1 played with my emotions, man. I loved laughing at the opening and at Luke's parents. I felt the warmth of the holiday atmosphere, but also felt the Black Christmas style spooky elements. And did Luke do an incredible job of getting on every last one of my goddamn nerves. But I love that he got under my skin so easily, and honestly, until you found out that the whole thing was a ploy to scare Ashley, this felt like a nice little homage to the cheesy 80s movies with the chase scenes and the nicely timed jump scares. Act 1 dislikes? Nothing really except that Luke did too good of a job of making me hate him, but that's just really a backhanded compliment of how well he did. Also, fun note if you didn't already know, the actors portraying Ashley and Garrett played the lovable siblings in The Visit. Now on to Act 2. Act 2. Now I'm not condoning violence against minors, but in this fictitious movie setting, but oh my god, I want to Homer, not OJ, Simpson that little brat Luke, bro. Ashley wakes up tied up with the moron twins drugged up and celebrating their captured prey, and they just become increasingly unbearable. In the midst of their PG-13 to near R-rated levels of torment and toying with Ashley, she turns the tables on them with a little psychological warfare. But those little brats are persistent in cleaning up their mess and are trying to roofie Ashley's memory when her boyfriend shows up. Woo! Ricky's here to do jack shit but get gagged and bound right next to Ashley. Dumbass. And then another of Ashley's exes gets duped into heading to the house to join Luke's devious plan that's beginning to reveal something more and more disturbing. Right before Ashley's ex Jeremy gets the invite, it is accidentally leaked out that Luke lured Ricky to the house. His plan doesn't seem to involve letting anyone escape. Moving on to that little Home Alone reference / topic that Garrett and Luke were discussing earlier, involving the paint cans. I've already said too much, but I'm going to say a little more. So to pass the time before Jeremy shows up, the reincarnation of Damien decides with too much eagerness to test out the paint can scene from Home Alone on a not so voluntary subject, Slick Rick over here. And oh shit, enjoy the carnage. Ashley makes a run for it after trying to save Rick. No luck, obviously. And just like Helen in I Know What You Did Last Summer, she had a glimpse of escaping, but we end Act 2 with her getting knocked out. Again. And it feels like I get knocked out every time that I see you guys are watching without subscribing, so please subscribe, and let's get into Act 2 likes and dislikes. I needed some medicine for my headache after watching Luke hand out concussions that stocking stuffers and just his overall presence. It sounds like a dislike, but this is very much a like. Because in most cases, yeah, I don't like the killer, I don't agree with the antagonist, it's normal. But this bitch-ass kid is the absolute worst, and I loathe this little discharge. And that really is the strength of this act in film, is the ability to get an emotional investment from the audience. And with that second act, I was so invested that I was willing to trade in all my Christmas and birthday wishes just to see that little bastard get his. But amongst all the evil shenanigans, damn, there are some really funny parts and some quick one-liners that will crack you up. For example, my favorite line is at the 53-minute, 9-second mark. Just watch. Act 2 dislikes, just the fact that it gave me tons of rage and anxiety. Speaking of rage and anxiety, let's see how much more we can get worked up in Act 3 and the conclusion of Better Watch Out. Act 3 shows us Luke entertaining some carolers while Garrett is drugged up and zoned out, and Ashley, you know, she's tied up. No more hiding it, Luke is a full-blown psycho. When Ashley's other ex, Jeremy, finally arrives, who is Billy from Stranger Things. I love you, Billy! And Luke's Christmas list is complete as he gets to finalize the touches on his filthy plan. I'm just gonna let you know that Jeremy's not gonna be getting his lump of coal on Christmas morning because he's a lump of dead, courtesy of Dark Kevin McAllister and his kinda clever way of tying up loose ends. Inside though, Ashley is working on the Stockholm Syndrome Garrett and trying to convince him to do the right thing. And it works! Well, it was working before Luke goes full dark side and says bye-bye to his BFF, and wow! And he shows off the lunacy and maddening entitlement of this gross little villain. Luke heads to bed after he gleefully cleans up his mess, including poor Ashley. But not so fast, you little fudger, because as one time he's checking out the crime scene and he's trying to enjoy his victory, Ashley's got a little bit of Sidney Prescott in her. Because she said, "Nuh-uh, not in my movie, you little jerk-off," and sends him with a nice little send-off before she gets whisked away to the hospital to tell the authorities of what happened, and we get to see that little shit's grin finally go away. Act 3 likes, wow, this last act felt so much longer than it should have because of sheer frustration. My blood pressure was through the roof, and I really enjoyed this dark conclusion, and not a second was wasted in this third act. Great pace, great dread and uneasiness, excellent finish to the film. Act 3 dislike? Not gonna lie, I wish they would have shown more of Doc Ray Montgomery's character, but hey, what can you do? Overall, I highly recommend watching this film, but not rewatching it. Watching this movie again for the sake of the review was honestly so difficult, but it's just a testimony to how strong of a film this is. Aside from laughing uncontrollably and admiring the Home Alone nods, I could not believe how upset I was at feeling so vulnerable and helpless throughout basically the entire film. Remarkable job in keeping me constantly pissed off, but managing to make me giggle randomly to lighten the mood. Excellent performances all around, but extra kudos to Ashley for earning some serious Final Girl street cred. Well done. This concludes today's episode of Tar with my high marks for the unbelievable Better Watch Out, and you better watch out if you don't subscribe. Totally kidding, thank you so much for watching. Please tell some friends and subscribe. My name is Gilbert Ibarra, thank you so much for watching the Attic Review. Smile, Tiger.